Bart George. I'm the Wildlife Program Manager for the Kalispel Tribe of Indians.
My name's Dr. Brook Lang. I'm a board-certified neonatologist, and this is the Prairie Farm Podcast.
What is a neonatologist?
So we're initially a pediatrician, and then we specialize in taking care of critically ill infants.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you do that for a day job?
Yes.
That's right. You were telling me about this on the phone. That's right.
Yeah.
My wife is a labor and delivery nurse.
That's what he said.
Yep.
Because he's talking about what time you were going to be able to get off work,
Yes.
and I was like, "Oh, we get it.
Yeah.
We get it."
Yeah. They had 2 babies born last night for one at midnight and one at 5 a.m. So the first baby.
Oh,
of the year
yay!
for
The New
community.
Year's babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken and
That's
I are like
cool.
a kindred soul. The first time we talked on the phone, he was taking care of 4 kids, and his wife was fixing to go for a night shift. I was like, oh yeah, I can relate.
Yeah, that's right. He gets it.
That's crazy. I think Kent's bringing us in, but
Yeah.
I'm going to pull your mic a little closer to you. Otherwise, Brooke, you're doing perfect. All right.
Okay, I'm going to copy something I heard years ago. I'm just going to be honest here. I heard this on the Meat Eater podcast maybe 5 years ago, and it was somebody that you know, Jim Hansen, right? Is his name?
Jim Williams.
Jim Henson. That's the Muppets
He's a cartoonist,
guy.
yeah.
Henson, not a, Jim Williams was on there, and he is a mountain lion biologist, right?
Yep.
Biological research.
Yep.
And they started the podcast out going around the table listing all the names for mountain lions. I've always thought that was so interesting because it's one of their unique things is they have like 1 million different names.
What?
So, Nicholas, because you're unaware of this, we'll let you start out.
Oh, okay. I
Just use the one I just
No,
said.
I know, but that's so terrible and boring. I feel like cougar is a different thing.
Nope.
Cougar?
Yep, that works.
Sweet.
You
All
took,
right.
You took mine.
Panther.
Panther, good.
I don't know. What's the one in Patagonia?
You're right.
What is it?
Puma.
Puma, right?
Yeah.
Puma.
Oh,
Yeah, good. There's no-
interesting. These aren't all different cats.
Yes.
These are all the same cats.
Yeah. Catamount.
Catamount. Leopard is different, isn't it? Isn't leopard just? Isn't puma kind of leopard?
No, it's a
No.
mountain lion.
It's a mountain lion.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah, dude! We always do these, and I always lose. We always
Well,
lose.
she already said puma, though.
I said Puma.
Brooke said puma.
But leopard.
no, leopard
No.
does not count.
Oh, okay. That's what I was asking.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then I'll just go mountain lion. I don't know any others.
Yeah, we haven't said it yet, technically. That works.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been said. I just call him a lion. Like,
Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
call them. In fact, when I was looking up last night, prepping for this, I was going back to the old Country So Full of Game, just because I wanted to see what the historical documentation was on mountain lions in Iowa, and I had to look it up by lion was in the
Interesting.
index. So, I guess it's Brooke's turn.
I'm out.
You're out. Okay. I think the only other one I can think of is Painter.
that was the one I was going to say, too.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
we're headed there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah. But well, I mean, it makes sense. So there's the cat with the broadest distribution in the world from, South America all the way through to now Alaska.
I guess I didn't
Awesome.
realize that it has the broadest distribution.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Basically the whole Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Is it? They're just really versatile. Like their form is very, very versatile form. Or
Yeah, they can live anywhere. Think about you got Florida Panthers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And such a different place than where we're at in Eastern Washington. And they do well either place. They're eating snakes down in the Everglades or eating deer in the Cascade Mountains.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Are they? So they're in Alaska as well.
They have never been until only recently. There was one up in southeast Alaska. So Brooke's from Alaska, and her brother is a keen hunter up there, and he's always sending me stuff. And he heard about it and sent me an article that somebody had found this lion up there.
is that a good thing?
Was it? Well, I just want to hear Brooke's perspective on this. Was that kind of like people? When I was a kid, you'd be like, "Oh, I know I saw a wolf," here in Illinois. and be like, no, you didn't. But then somebody would just swear they saw one. Was that a thing in Alaska where people would be like, oh, I think there's a mountain lion living up over there?
Never, ever heard that until this. Like, till
Really?
my brother called us about it, yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, you'd think with such a huge...
But everybody's saying the wolf thing. Yeah, I always
Yeah.
call their bluff on that one. It's
Yeah.
usually a big dog.
Yeah.
Dude, when you finally see a real wolf, you're like, whoa, that
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
huge.
there's no doubt.
My grandma and sister to this day swear they saw a lion in Iowa. They like came back from the grocery store, and my sister was like in college, and she's 9 years older than me, and I was a little kid, so I just like ate it
A
up.
mountain lion isn't a mountain lion or like a escape from the zoo lion?
They
After
said lion, and I think they knew it wasn't like it didn't have a mane, but my assumption always was that they saw a big bobcat and they saw it close enough where it was like, oh, that is shockingly large, But I don't know. My sister today is like, no, it was not a bobcat. I've seen pictures of bobcat. It was much bigger than that, and I kind of wonder. But I don't even know if mountain lions are ever found really in Iowa.
Oh, yeah.
They are. It's funny you say that. I was in high school, and I saw a lion down by Easter Lake, actually, right south of Des
really?
Moines. Yep, my family had a farm there, and this, of course, now it's all subdevelopment, right?
Oh,
But
yeah.
ag field right against the public land, and I was mowing the backyard, and I watched it for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I'd never seen one before in my life, but I knew what they were, right? I was pretty interested in
was
cougars.
that like your what do they call it for superheroes? Origin stories?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is
Your aha
that
moment.
where you were like, man, I could get into keeping an eye on these things for a while?
No, it was far before that. It was exciting to see it. It was a really interesting thing to spot one there, but it'd be like me saying I saw a Bigfoot in
right,
Washington,
yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
really of course we didn't have social media then or anything else, but I couldn't just run around like, I saw a lion. People wouldn't believe me.
They
They'd think I was,
phone in your pocket to get a video.
Yeah, there was no evidence of that, but I'm sure that's what it was. And
Yeah.
I don't know where it may have come from.
Well, what's interesting is, and I think it has to do with just the amount of forest still because that's Madison County, right?
That's actually southern Polk County. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, it's right on the edge of
even,
town.
Even still, get to southern Polk County, there's quite a bit of forest down there.
Yeah.
And even up where we're sitting now, which is Marion County, there's through that in Warren County, those counties kind of are one of the biggest, I guess you'd say, most sprawling pieces of forest left in Iowa.
Yep.
And almost every year on like the different social media pages, one of the biggest ones for Iowa is Trophy Bucks of Iowa. People are always putting trail camera pictures up on there, and
They're always the same, like 5 counties.
yeah, and mountain lions and elk. They're almost always there's one in Madison County, and so it's interesting that from not obviously yours was in Polk County, but not too far away. And
Yeah, it wouldn't mean anything for that cat to be in Madison County the next day. Like,
yeah,
they travel.
yeah, they're incredible animals. The distribution of them, and I think what maybe keeps, well, first of all, anything dangerous always that's ancient. That they're on the front of our minds when we think about wildlife, and not just like in I'm scared of that. There's a natural intrigue there too. Probably kind of like when you get caught staring into the campfire, it's like, this is something powerful. This is something that, brings a lot of excitement and good, but also burns your house down if you're not careful. And when you think of that and think of the intrigue that's around mountain lions, I think that's part of it. But I think the other part is they're just so good at going undetected. And I remember reading in Jim's book that there would be times where he had a cat that had a collar on it, radio collar on it, and he had the, what do you call them, the receiver?
Yeah, the old VHF
and
receiver.
he's like,
yeah.
I know the thing is within yards of me, but I cannot get eyes on it.
Wow. That's crazy.
I mean, what is it about them that another story that I'll tell. A good friend of mine, he's a rancher out in central Nebraska. I was telling you about this. He was able to participate in a collaring of a lion that was on their ranch. And the next time when they checked in on that lion, this was within weeks, it had made it from Valentine, Nebraska area to Springfield, Illinois. I mean, it had crossed undetected the entire state of Iowa, which is not a small state, and all the way into the heart of Illinois before it got picked up again. I mean, what is it about them that they're able? Is it just because they're so nocturnally active, or?
I mean, that's a part of it, right? They're moving around mostly at night, but they can walk a long ways, right? They can make a kill and feed and then walk away from it and travel, potentially 100 miles before they need to eat again.
So they're not territorial at all, like
canines
are. Oh, they are.
The animal that's going to walk from Nebraska to Illinois is a dispersing animal. So that's one that's looking for another population to settle into, right? Suitable habitat and space. And he's going to be walking for a while because he's not going to find any more cats probably. Mm-hmm. So probably a young male, if I had to guess, like a 2-year-old male that's just kind of setting off on his own.
Crazy.
Are they? So I've also heard that sometimes those young males will keep bouncing out further because they are coming across other more dominant males' territory. Is that also possibly part of it?
Oh yeah, for sure. But I think that cat, he's not getting bumped. Let's say he's not walking across central Iowa and getting bumped out of habitat by a bigger
he's still
lion.
searching.
He's just looking for a population. Yeah.
Is there like a finish line kind of idea where if a cat was to move from the west, which happens every year in Iowa now, either from south, Black Hills or Nebraska or wherever, if they keep pushing far enough east? Is like Missouri, is there enough of a population in Missouri or Arkansas, or that, okay, now that cat is going to end up there, he's going to spread his genes down in that part of the country, or are they finally, do they hit a point where like, there's nothing here and I'm looping back?
I don't know the answer to that. I think they tend to get themselves in trouble before they reach that spot, right?
Sure.
You have to keep in mind he's still a young animal, still a 2-year-old predator out on the landscape that's exploring new territory and crossing roads and doing all these things that are pretty dangerous. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if anybody could guess that. The finish line in my mind would be when he happens upon a dispersing female and they're in a place that has prey and then they can set up camp.
Are they one season maters, or do they stay together for life, or?
No, they don't stay together for life, but the way the territory works, the male might have this great big territory, hundreds of square miles, and the females will set up a smaller territory within. And, as that changes over time, then they get bred by a different male. So a female may get bred by the same male a couple different times, but once he starts to kind of age out, another tom will come in and replace him in that territory, or he'll get killed or hit, whatever.
Yeah.
And then that tom will come in, and I think at that point that female is sort of beholden to that cat that's going to be in the territory.
Is there in a place like Iowa where there are so few of cats, and I don't know that I should have reached out to Jace, and I think the guy who's in charge of the fur bearers, we group them by cervids and fur bearers, and then I can't remember what the other category is, maybe like reptiles and fish. But I think his name is Scott Evelsizer, maybe, who's here in Iowa. We need to interview that guy. We're good friends with Jace, who's in charge of all the
Welcome
cervids.
to Kent's Brain.
But I don't know that the DNR has ever said we have any permanently established cats living in Iowa, but the frequency in which we're seeing them makes me think that maybe in some of our more remote counties, maybe get down to like Ringgold County where there's very few people but a lot of habitat still, maybe could be in that kind of a situation, not necessarily specifically to Iowa, but areas where there's just low frequency of cats, maybe in Alaska, like you're talking about, is there quite a bit of inbreeding that goes on with those cats? You know, I think of the Isle Royale situation with the wolves. You know, basically these wolves become landlocked. Wolves do not have the adaptation to where they can, you know, when they hit a barrier like that, they're kind of stuck. They don't hack a way out of it super well. So they get just compounding inbreeding. Does that happen with mountain lions, or because of their adaptation that they range so many thousands of miles even, that it's kind of a built-in protection against that?
Dispersal, right? That's the protection against it. So when cats are isolated, obviously it does become an issue, and there are instances of that happening now already. And in California, the Santa Monica Mountains, there's a whole bunch of noise right now, and I'm not the right person to go in depth in it, but California has tons of mountain lions from north all the way down to Mexico, right? It's full of mountain lions.
Yeah,
they don't hunt them.
I'm almost seeing something in the news or a video posted of a negative human interaction, which we're going to get into that for sure, because that's your research. In California, though, I'd say once a month almost.
Oh, it's
more.
Yeah, it's more frequent than that. That's what you hear about here, right?
Yeah, right.
But those populations that are kind of separated by the I-5 corridor, this human development that, you know, cats are pretty sporty about going through cities, and they don't need a lot of cover to make that walk, but it's so developed in some of those places that they just can't. So those populations are sort of starting to have a genetic bottleneck. And the state of California is talking about putting them on the endangered species list, which I don't know what that changes. There's already a moratorium on cougar hunting.
Yeah,
I don't know
right.
what difference I don't know what that would mean, but it does happen when they just physically can't leave an area. So, I mean, that's essentially an island at this point.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of talk about that on the Olympic Peninsula. So out west of Seattle, the peninsula that comes, you know, the I-5 corridor separates that from the rest of the state. There's still some wild country, but that highway and the development that has, you know, sort of happened along I-5 has separated those animals. And now in the west, there's a big push for wildlife crossings on those highways. And of course, that's huge money, expensive to build. But they work. And
do they? So
yeah, they'll use them. Yeah.
Interesting.
But it's, you know, it's not just a bridge. It's also miles of high fence and all this other stuff that needs to happen.
Kind of funnels them into that.
Right.
Doesn't that create like other issues for the wildlife when you create these funnel crossing points? Like, I just imagine intelligent prey would just hang out there.
Right. That's a good spot for a tree stand.
Predators. Yeah. That's
Is there documented behavior from lions or wolves or bears just hanging out near those crossings because there is such a high traffic?
Not that I know of, but they'll learn that. Like, they'll figure that out.
Yeah. That's somebody's new PhD study right there. You heard it here on the Prairie
Farm
Podcast.
They put trail cameras at the crossings, and we see, you know, on social media or whatever, pictures all the time. And actually, the Washington Department of Transportation will put pictures out of the different things crossing. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's super interesting. And I know they have different styles of them. I don't know. I just kind of like the big overpass ones where it's like a land bridge going over. I just think they look nicer. But a lot of them are just like giant tubes, right, that go under the road.
Right. And I have to think a lot of species just aren't going to want to walk through that tunnel.
Yes.
You know?
I can't imagine it like a big antlered animal. I think they would just feel like they're going to get stuck or tangled or something.
Right. I mean, we have mostly well-trained horses and mules that, like, trying to walk them into a horse trailer is a huge hassle. Yeah. Like, imagine grabbing a wild elk and trying to drag him into a tube.
Drainage tube there.
You're going to love it. Yeah. You're going to love it. That's crazy. All right. And before our listeners kill me, I totally derailed us from why are they impossible to detect? And I was also curious about that. That question that Ken had asked earlier about like, why? Because they really do. They just go unseen, unnoticed, and very hard to track.
Don't some people refer to them as ghosts and things like that? Ghost cat or something like that, maybe?
They're so quiet. Like, The first time I saw one, I was so excited, but I had to see it. I couldn't hear it at all, and the only reason I could see it was because we had it on the tracker. And he was just right there, and just they're predators.
Was he still on the ground? Or
Yeah. Oh no, he was walking.
And it's
But
just their
walking
paws are
along.
so padded
They
that
don't
you can't.
make a noise unless they want to. I mean, they're really impressive.
Yeah. I had, so at that ranch I was telling you about, the closest that I know of that I've ever been to a cat, we were out there shed hunting on this guy's ranch. Beautiful, just untouched prairie in so many. I mean, it's grazed, but there's so much intact short grass, mixed grass prairie there. It's like heaven to me, right? And it had snowed right when we had pulled in the night. Great shed hunting conditions, right? Fresh 6 inches of powder. You couldn't see a thing, but we still just had a blast walking around. And that was kind of our time stamp. It snowed till like, I don't know, maybe 9 in the morning or something like that. And we got up on this hill at like 11, and there were fresh tracks. I mean, fresh. No snow had fallen in them yet. And there's all these ponderosa pines around, and so he could have easily been in any of those trees. And it was just such an eerie feeling walking around in there, like, yeah, there could be a big tom that's just sizing me up and deciding, maybe today is the day I should eat, but I'm looking for him. I'm following his tracks, and I never could lay eyes on him. Do you think it is likely that he was aware, with those tracks being that fresh, even if he wasn't up there on that plateau, maybe he was, a couple 100 yards away? Do you think he would have been aware of us hiking up there? And
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty watchy, right? It's pretty tough to sneak up on one. Not impossible, but pretty tough. And they pay attention. They've put themselves in a place, they pick a daybed similar to the way a deer would, or
okay,
they find a spot where they can smell, they can see, they can hear, and that stuff. So and I'm sure you guys weren't being silent. If you're walking and talking, you're not sneaking up on anything. You're looking for antlers. So yeah, he probably knew you were there, and they'll let you get pretty close. It was startling. So the research that we finished up last year, we were kind of trying to come up with a way to do a control portion of this project, right? And one of the only way we could really come up with was to approach a cat without doing anything other than just walking up to it and seeing how close it'd let us get with this podcast playing talk radio at 80 decibels, which is pretty loud. So we weren't sneaking up on it. We were just walking straight at it. And those cats that, we hadn't messed with at all got pretty used to us pretty fast. By the third or fourth time we approached, about half of them let us walk right up to them. So we'd stop at 10 meters. That was as close as we'd get to their daybed. And about half of the time we'd walk up and just be looking at the cat. And we have the advantage. We have a GPS collar on it, so we know right where it's at. It's not even the old fashioned stuff.
Terrifying to know that.
It was wild. Yeah, we had
Wait, the old fashioned what? It's not the old fashioned.
Yeah, and Jim talked about seeing them, using the Yagi antenna and the
wand
beep,
thing,
beep.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
It's
old
kind
fashioned
of a radio frequency one where you use 3 points to triangulate where it is. Oh, whoops.
Oh,
versus,
you're good. Okay, but they still had a
the
collar
GPS
on them.
unit. Yeah.
They still had okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So you have to
I'm
find
walking,
him first, collar him, and then he does the control.
Yeah, so they're going back to re-find the same cat is what they're doing.
Yeah, I get that. I don't know how you find them to begin with, and then are you tranquilizing them?
That's the other part of his job, but I want to hold off.
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
getting ahead of ourselves.
You were talking about the hounds. I still want to talk.
I want to circle back to the question that we've missed twice now. They are, they are hard to find because they move around at night. They're quiet. They're mostly secretive. They're not like a wolf that's out there howling or anything else that's kind of giving themselves away. They're easier to find in the winter, obviously, with snow, and in Iowa with deciduous forest and row crops and things like that. Your amount of cover drastically decreases in the wintertime. But imagine an animal that's, a big tom might be 3 foot high at the shoulder walking through a cornfield.
Yeah, true.
He may as well be in a rainforest.
True.
It's 7 or 8 foot tall corn. There's no detecting that animal in the summertime. Now in the winter, the odds of seeing them go way up. But where we're at in, pine forests and big sort of connected habitat, a lot of our sightings are coming now from trail cameras and Ring doorbells. They end up on somebody's porch or stuff like that. Or, we get snow and somebody calls and there's like a cat tracks in our driveway or something like that. So,
yeah, it's really interesting. You brought up a great point there too. And I mean, just in the timing, things have changed so much technologically in your career. I mean, you're not that much older than I am. When you were coming into your work, trail cameras were definitely around, but the quantum leap they've made in the last 10 years with cell cameras and just the number of people deploying them into the, not just their hunting properties, but even on public land, that exponential increase in surveillance. But then there was another one, which is half the old ladies in this country now have Ring doorbell cameras. And the amount of things being caught just by people who couldn't care less. They don't have it there for the wildlife. They got it there for the porch pirate. And I got to imagine that's been almost a good thing and a bad thing for you guys, because you're probably getting a lot more data, but you're probably getting the same cat 500 times now as opposed to 5 times in the past.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to identify an individual, right? If they don't have an ear tag or something else. So they kind of all look the same. Like there's big cats and small cats and medium cats, but you can't, like if you get a picture on a doorbell at one house and then next door another picture, it's like you kind of have to assume it's the same cat.
Yeah.
But it might not be. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of this sort of anecdotal data being generated. Luckily, it's all getting posted on social media and like it's just everywhere, right? So it has been helpful for our research. It was helpful because we were focused on sort of that sort of cat, right? The cat that's on a porch, the cat that's hanging around somebody's home or livestock or something like that. In general, I don't know how helpful it is. There's a group out in Washington that's, they're concerned about the cougar population, growing and whatever, taking too many deer, whatever the concern might be. They're trying to sort of compile cougar sightings. And it's like, well, sightings are a dime a dozen. That's easy. And if you put a social media post out there or put send word like, hey, let me know if you see any cougar signs, your phone's just going to be blowing up because all of a sudden every bump in the night turns into a cougar. Every flash of brown is a cougar sighting. And so some of it's useful, some of it's real anecdotal, and some of it's just a waste of time.
Sure. Before we move on from the behavioral and anecdotal to more of the research, or not anecdotal, the behavioral and physical adaptations of these cats, one of the things that I find so puzzling maybe is all of the large cats that existed here during the Pleistocene, that these cats were in some way competing with and functioning in an ecosystem with, things like saber-toothed cats, American lions, American cheetahs. I feel like I'm missing another main one there. And of course, all the other more canine type of large predators. But yet, mountain lions are the only ones to survive out of that. At least here in North America, as far as the big cats go.
There seems to be
bobcats, I guess, and lynx.
Yeah, there seems to be a size percentage correlation. If you think about like wolves to dire wolves, and or even coyotes to dire wolves, it seems to be like a certain size and smaller survived, and the other ones just didn't seem to make it. I don't know.
I'm interested in your kind of answer though. So this is good. This means you've thought on this a lot. What is it? Why did they continue, but these other cats just seem to cease to be around?
They didn't actually. So cougars were gone from North America for a period of time.
Really?
Yep, they went extinct here. There's a pretty strong body of evidence that our cougars repopulated from South America.
Really?
Yep. So
Wow. That is fascinating. So they would have, whatever that bottleneck
Yeah.
event was, it
yeah,
got them too.
they fell into that same
Wow.
trap. Yep.
Any idea what the speculation is onto why all those large predators blinked out like that?
No, I have no idea what. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
I'm not boned up on that stuff that much. I know. I did a whole bunch of work on caribou in the lower 40. Like lower 48 had a caribou population until only a couple years ago. That population has existed in, the Rocky Mountains, Selkirk Mountains for 70,000 years. So it didn't go away. It's a pretty big species
Yeah.
that.
And nobody cares about that for whatever reason.
Wait,
Nobody talks.
They
But
just
that-
went extinct
And that's what's
a couple
fascinating.
years ago.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a conservation podcast. I've literally never run
Right,
across
and nobody
anything
talks
on that.
about
Yeah.
why.
That's
why is that?
crazy. That's what she saw me when
I
you
love
said
it.
that.
Yeah.
I had a look. I what?
Yep.
Just a couple years ago.
Yep.
What
Yep.
happened? Just habitat or?
We know what caused that. Yeah, habitat change.
Oh man.
We've converted a bunch of that habitat. We've built highways and done these things. And that, like, when you walk across that landscape, it still seems big, right? Mm-hmm. But now there's a highway going across it, and with a species that can't survive a whole bunch of mortality, like a couple animals getting hit by a car every year, that matters over 50 years. A change in predator stuff, a change in forest type, those things all kind of chipped away at it.
So were those? Man, this is.
Why don't people
I
care?
didn't expect to go down this road.
That's
so much, but this is
amazing.
great.
Because a lot of people don't know.
Why do you think people is? I'm assuming that there's not a bad actor somewhere suppressing the information. It feels more like it's not the butterfly. We really care about monarch butterflies. We don't seem to care that much
Is
about
it elk?
caribou.
Maybe is it just the attention that elk get is from hunters and
I mean, that's part of it. They're not a species that anybody's been able to, sort of take advantage of or hunt for decades. But Teddy Roosevelt hunted in North Idaho for caribou.
really?
Yeah, he hunted out of Sandpoint. Like Brooke and I spent last weekend there hunting. Like it's they were there. Like people hunted them, and I think the population was small enough and in an isolated enough place that it kind of got overlooked. And then you think about caribou, like there's 40,000 animals in the porcupine herd in Alaska, and people are like, oh, I don't know, they're doing fine.
Right.
It was a different thing, right? It's like,
Yeah. So is it more like? And to me, it's just so hard to picture Western wildlife populations because, in many cases, we have just fragments of. I mean, what are the high estimates for bison was 60 million or something like that in the American West at one time, and elk. I've heard from multiple places that they were really more of in Iowa there were more elk than bison in Iowa, in a tallgrass prairie state, and so they're more of a plains animal, but now we view them as a mountain animal. Was it the same thing for caribou where there would just be vast herds in the lower 48 at one time, but they went through that same market hunting, exploitative bottlenecking that happened to elk and bison, and then they just kind of lingered around, kind of almost like a Shiras moose, one in a million chance of seeing one of those.
But they are a plains animal.
well,
Big time in Alaska. at
in
least.
Alaska, yep.
Yeah,
yep.
and they move like crazy in Alaska.
Yeah, they like never stop walking there.
No. So every herd that you talk about then
Yeah.
becomes a herd in a different spot. So where it was when you wanted your tag one year,
Yeah.
you have to move to a different area to get that tag
And
because
it
they just
changes
move.
its-
Yeah,
its-
they move a lot.
So the mountain caribou, they're in Alaska also, a different animal than the barren ground caribou, and the adaptation that made our like southern mountain caribou so interesting is that they actually move up in the wintertime and everything comes out of the mountains in the wintertime, including all the predators. But the caribou would go up into high elevation basins and they would eat the lichens out of the tree, like the old man's beard
Yeah.
lichens hanging, arboreal lichens. And that mechanism sort of kept them away from predators.
Who is that guy that he won? I think I'm talking about the same guy. He was on Rogan like 7 years ago. He won the show alone by killing a moose. And then he was
Jordan Jonas.
He was like a missionary to people who followed an elk herd around.
No, reindeer.
Reindeer, that's what it was.
herdsmen
Okay,
over in
yeah.
like Siberia, I think.
Cool.
Yeah, and he just like hung out with these people that just followed the reindeer population around as like almost like pasture raised animals, but they just followed them through the forest or whatever. I can't imagine like my daily life. I mean, yours does a little bit, revolving around a ginormous animal that isn't in a fence. Like I just couldn't even imagine like what do? Do they need water? And like they're kind of integrated with them and kind of family, but also, by the way, a couple times a week we're going to take one of you guys and eat you. It's just like it's such a bizarre way of life. But with the caribou, it's interesting that nobody cared. Nobody talked about it. Nobody said anything. But we've had people talk about conservational or ecological grief on the show, and I'm curious, was that a big deal for you when the caribou, when it was like official? Okay, they're not here anymore.
Oh yeah, it was. Personally, like I said, I'd invested 10 years of my career working on these things and doing all I could to make noise and gather funds and get partners and do all the things we could to save them. But for the tribe, I remember I worked for the Kalispel tribe, and that's a group of people that ate caribou for the last 70,000 years. Also, they've been there for the same amount of time, and they've been sharing that landscape, and that was a food resource that they could count on most of the time. So when the caribou went away, sort of the Kalispel people sort of lost a piece of themselves in that landscape, and the landscape is different now. That's the kind of an interesting part of our country where we have almost a complete suite of species. We still have, remnant lynx and wolverine and grizzly bear and all these really cool, charismatic species, but for one.
Where are we talking about?
Northeast Washington, North Idaho Panhandle,
Yeah.
the Selkirk Mountain Range.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that, in my mind, it seems like thankfully there's been this expansion of these populations again. Since when was the low point? Probably late 1800s for
not for us.
Bison, elk, and,
Yeah.
and a lot of these iconic megafauna of the West.
Mm-hmm.
But since that time, Teddy Roosevelt, John F. Lacey. Did you know John F. Lacey is from Oskaloosa?
No.
Like that's where that's
Lacey
where
Act stuff,
yeah, that's where he lived, and thankfully that legislation came in, changed how people viewed wildlife, how they could use wildlife, and there's since then has been this expansion back out, not even close to what it was, but to where we have huntable, sustainable populations. But where you guys are located, it seems like you're almost the Eden of where you can get maybe as close to what a healthy ecosystem was with these animals for millennia. And it almost still seems to this day, now the new threat really being development and changing climate, things are more filtering into where that part of the country, that Northwest Montana, Washington, a little bit of Idaho there, where it's almost like this epicenter of the last good spot. Is that an accurate understanding of how things are kind of transpiring today, or is it different than that?
Well, for the lower 48, I'm thinking like this is all different for Brooke, who grew up in Alaska.
Alaska's
it's like
just
Alaska's just like you guys.
Yeah.
For the lower 48, I think that's true. It's a pretty resilient landscape for climate change. It's got a lot of elevation and different things. So, as the climate changes, there's a potential that a species could maybe move up a little bit or do, adjust in some way, but stay on the landscape. the changes there happened later than, the Midwest, obviously. And it wasn't necessarily conversion to agriculture. It's, forest products and things like that. But what really sort of started, I think, the decline of the caribou was development in the river valleys. So there's a couple of big river valleys on each side of the Selkirks, and those animals used to move across the river valley, and, that was okay. Now there's, dammed rivers and railroad tracks and a highway on each side and homes and, 25 fences that they would have to cross and cattle pastures and all this other stuff. Right. So that genetic bottleneck happened decades ago. And I think that probably started the process for a lot of those species. Now a cougar or a grizzly bear or some of those species, they'll find their way through that stuff. They're smarter. They're sneakier. They're not traveling in a herd. So they can work their way across those valleys more easily than a caribou could.
Sure. So were they like what Brooke's describing in Alaska, where tens of thousands of animals? I mean, even at their peak.
No.
Or were they more like hundreds, dozens?
Hundreds, yeah. Smaller groups, more spread out. Definitely not the densities.
Alaska doesn't have those densities now.
No, it's changed.
No, it's changed a lot.
They've declined even in Alaska quite a bit.
Why?
Caribou. We actually don't know. And the Mulchatna herd's gone. So the biggest herd is gone.
The biggest herd is gone.
Yeah.
Is development a part of that too? Or
No,
not
there's
really?
nothing
There's
out
nothing
there.
Interesting. And I assume they're big
The
enough
thought
herd
is they think they moved, but I don't know.
to
Like
Canada.
a portion of it went and joined this herd, and another portion of that, so they kind of interspersed with other herds.
I keep looking at the wildlife biologist.
If I had,
I just know from growing up, and
Right.
I would go with my dad because he was a hunting guide, and so I would tag along and be a packer, and they just eventually now are kind of not there.
Really? So
yeah.
you guys were actually able to hunt that herd. There was.
Oh yeah.
that-
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
That's amazing.
all
That
over.
is wild. And they're just kind of gone. And someone whose dad's livelihood was there isn't sure what happened. And what I mean by that is it's not very publicly known what happened to him. That's so crazy
do
to
you
me.
do you think that given another 1,000 years, it's possible to predict what all happens on a global scale in 1,000 years, but the trends that we're seeing.
But you're going to try.
Yeah. Well, I want you to try. But is it following the same trend that happened to so many of the other Pleistocene megafauna to where 1,000 years from now, it'd be like, yeah, I found an elk, or not an elk, a caribou fossil. And do you think that's going to happen with caribou, or will it be like a mammoth, I guess is what I'm saying?
I hope not. And I think there's enough people now trying, to save species, to protect habitat, to identify, sources of mortality and different things like that. I don't think that'll be the case.
Did Caribou Coffee ever donate money to the Caribou cause?
No, I don't think so.
Nah, they're just using it for clout. Can't believe it.
Right?
Can't believe it. Man, I thought maybe they were kind of missionally. I haven't looked.
They
into
are
it,
from, aren't they from Washington, Caribou Coffee?
I think
I thought it was
northern Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I
yeah.
think they're
Which
like.
they would have had caribou too, right? Wasn't like
Minnesota,
again?
yeah.
Isle Royale was it a lynx caribou dominated island?
Before
and now
it
it's
was-
moose and wolf.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So through the Great Lakes there were even caribou.
Sorry, to all our listeners, I apologize. I'm so uneducated in this topic we're talking about. I feel like I'm just asking the silliest questions, but it is fascinating. It's just not something I hear about a lot. And so I guess when the caribou that you were following, what habitat did they like?
They like big tree, old growth forest,
Oh,
which is also something we like, turns out. But we like it for building homes and things like that.
Yeah.
So what happened with the caribou is an interesting story. That I described sort of their life cycle. They go up in the winter. They avoid predation that way. They're eating lichens and things like that. And they drop down a little bit, mid elevation, some low elevation in the summertime. Okay. Well, there were not that many elk and moose sharing that habitat at that time. I'm talking about 100 years ago. There were white-tailed deer and caribou. There were wolves. Wolves have always existed. Cougars have always been there. Their primary prey would have been deer. So as we, sort of developed that land, it's not developed. It's still wide open country. It's not developed. As we logged and, manipulated that landscape.
Exploited it, extracted from it.
Right. We cut down a bunch of the old growth, and it was replaced with new growth and brush and things like that moose and elk and deer like. So they flourished, right? Now all of a sudden, this sort of habitat gap that predators would have had to travel through, 3,000 vertical feet of, kind of a biological desert, really, for as far as prey goes for them. Now it's full of moose and elk and other ungulates that they want to eat. And the caribou, when they sort of dropped down and would commingle, they were just sort of incidentally taken. So they were never a primary prey for these animals, but there was just enough mortality that they couldn't sustain a population. And the habitat change was what sort of bridged that gap elevationally for the predators to then commingle.
That's so interesting, because you always think of a species like any kind of cervid, you think is having this predator-prey relationship. That's why it's in the ecosystem, and it's, the deer are there to feed the wolves, right? And that's not the case here for caribou. It's purely by losing caribou, there's obviously ecological consequences in open niche, right? But it's truly from just leave science aside, a debeautification of our natural world. Here you have this species that's existing, I'm sure not completely, but largely outside of a predator-prey relationship. It's just a part of the landscape. And this giant, majestic... caribou have the largest antler to body size ratio, and even the cows have antlers as well, right? So truly like the most majestic North American animal, and it's eliminated from the lower 48.
Crazy.
Well, and it's sad too, because they're just like, they're almost like a dodo bird, right? They're so naive. They haven't had.
Remember on our hunt?
Yeah.
He just walked right up to us, Mr. Boo.
We had like a pet caribou on our, and it's like, if we were caribou hunting, we would have felt bad shooting this thing. It's just like, it's just so naive. Like,
oh man.
And so, it's just hard. It's like, come on. Like, run away.
Yeah, we're doing everything we can to help
us
you.
everywhere.
For predators, that's like, and lions, a cougar will, if it kills a caribou and another one's standing there, it's like, well, why not? So, if you threw a cat in a room full of mice, it's not going to stop with
serial
one.
Killing.
Oh for sure.
Okay, so that's another unique thing. I've heard of them having to do that because of wolf pressure. I think where is it? Is it Idaho that people wolf haters in Idaho? That's an off-sided thing, right? Won't let us manage our wolves, and now the wolves they're they're stealing all the kills from the mountain lions, which causes the mountain lions to kill an exponential increase in the number of mule deer that they're taking. I've heard it from that standpoint. Is that accurate, that claim? Because I hear it a lot.
There might be some truth to that. Certainly, wolves take kills from lions, and lions are probably more efficient and effective predators. So they'll go out and make another kill.
Yeah.
So that's a fair claim. We don't really know what that means on the landscape. We know, obviously it means more dead deer. But lions, they're still individuals, and they're still cats, right? Like I kind of said it a minute ago. If you take a house cat and toss it in a shed full of mice, it's not just going to stop at one.
Yeah,
it's going to kill a whole bunch of mice. In the wild, that doesn't happen upon a herd of deer, and the deer stand around. Those deer are well adapted to escape a predator, so they make a kill. In a barnyard, in a penned up group of sheep or alpacas or something like that. There's a cat being a cat. So yeah, they kill a bunch. It's pretty unusual, and we've walked into dozens, maybe hundreds of kill sites of cats, and you almost never find more than one animal laying around.
Sure.
What we have found that's kind of fun is we'll find a deer kill and buried like on top of it or right next to it, because they'll kind of cache a kill away and eat it for about a week usually. You find a coyote or a bobcat or something that got too close.
Oh, really?
I think that lion kind of hangs around. Well, we know the lion kind of hangs around that kill site, but not right on top of it, maybe 100 yards away.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of watching that, and if something shows up and starts picking at it, they'll wipe it out.
Do they then eat the?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll eat them.
Wow, that is really interesting.
Yeah.
Crazy. That'd be a lifetime find to see.
Yeah.
How often do they have to eat?
I mean, they'll eat daily when they have a kill.
Oh,
so,
okay.
A couple times a day, but sort of
Left unbothered.
a deer a week.
They'll kill a deer a week.
Yep, about a deer a week.
Wow. And they don't. So let's say they kill a deer and it takes several days to eat the deer. As soon as they're done with that deer, they go get another one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Because I'm thinking like a snake where it eats like once a month or whatever, and then it's good to go.
No,
for a
they
while.
take out, and I mean, you that's the ideal situation, right? They kill a deer, they eat it for a week, and then they eat every scrap of the meat, and they walk off and look for another. It doesn't always work that way. We still have cats that starve to death.
Okay, so we're talking about prey here, just for this. I can imagine this curiosity is arising in Nick's brain, which I also think it's definitely in mine, and probably our listeners too. Let's do like a 5 being like, that is the filet mignon. That's what if they could kill this every day, that's what they're going after. And 1 is like, dirt. You know what? It's and I'm just going to kind of rapid fire some species here. So, mule deer, I'm guessing 5. Is that
pretty high? Yeah,
that's their high. A moose, and that can include a calf.
Can they kill a moose?
Oh yeah.
Really?
They can?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had
I know moose.
Usually just calves, or
wolves
will they take down a cow or
adult moose. Yeah.
Wow.
We collared it was a big tom. It was one of the bigger ones that we collared on a state project. I was helping the WDFW with a collaring project, and we put a collar. It was like 175-pound tom or something. He's big. And
Man, that's huge.
like a week later, like we almost got no data from this thing, and we got a mort signal, and I walked up to see what was going on, and a mort signal, when that collar stops moving, it sends a different tone, right?
Mortality.
Yeah,
signal,
yeah.
right?
So it lets you know that the collar's stationary for a certain amount of time. So I walked up to see what had happened, and there was, as I'm like scratching my way up this snowy hillside, I come upon a moose kill, which is pretty neat. Buried, like obvious lion kill, big tom tracks. I'm kind of putting together. I was like, man, was it a tie? Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
And I had the telemetry and the tracker, and got up the hill another 50 or so yards, and you could see it was a heck of a fight all the way down the hill. There's just the earth's all beat apart, and that collar was laying in the ground, and the cat was still alive. But during this
when you saw
fight,
it buried, when you saw the moose buried, where
Yeah.
you're like, the cat has to be alive.
Yeah,
if he's
yeah.
feeling good enough to bury it.
somehow during this fight with the moose, the Kevlar strap had busted off of that collar's neck, off that
Wow.
cougar's neck, which was pretty neat. It was the only time we saw that. But yeah, they kill moose, and I mean that'd be pay dirt, right? That's a buffet for a month during the winter. When it's not going to rot, so they'll lay around on a moose for a long time. Typically, it's toms that kill moose.
What would that be on the preference scale? Would that be like a 2 for them to?
Yeah, I mean I think that's something. A lot of those cats are going to avoid a moose, but
Because it's your work, your
yeah.
So it's
for
not
work.
about taste or
Ener-
nutrition.
Yeah.
It's about
energy out.
Yeah.
well,
versus
and
energy
risk,
in.
right?
Yeah.
These cats aren't like
You don't wanna
a
get
broken
hurt.
tooth or a broken jaw is potentially a death sentence
Yeah.
for wildlife. So I don't know how much they understand that, but they respect it. So they don't take unnecessary risks typically.
What about elk? They
Pretty high.
pretty high.
Really?
Yeah, 3.
3.
Where's the size of a caribou compared to an elk? body wise?
They're smaller.
Smaller. Okay. Are they bigger than a whitetail or mule deer?
Yeah, they'd be
Okay.
somewhere in between, probably a cow elk and a deer.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So then where would caribou be on the scale?
Pretty low.
Pretty low.
Yeah,
One or two.
pretty
maybe?
low. Yeah. Although we had
Just more so because the opportunity to find one
right.
to hunt.
Yep. The way it's sort of described, and I believe it to be true, deer are sort of the driving force of pretty much all cougar populations in North America. And then cats sort of become specialists in other areas, right? So an area with lots of, desert bighorns, like that lion population down in California, Arizona, New Mexico, whatever, that's causing trouble with the desert bighorns is probably living off a mule deer, but taking desert bighorns when they get the opportunity. But it's enough mortality to impact that population. Wow. So where we're at, it's mostly white-tailed deer. Like cougars live off of deer, but they eat coyotes and porcupines and skunks and
Oh, where we're at right now.
where we're in Washington,
Oh, in
yeah.
Washington.
And I didn't realize there were whitetail deer.
Yeah.
And I did not know
You
that.
guys have what are they? I can't believe is it Colombian?
Columbia whitetail, yeah, that's
Columbia whitetail.
they're rare, but all the way down in the southwest part of the state. Yeah,
I lived in Redding. I was born in Seattle, and I go to Washington every year. And I've never in Redding. We never saw a whitetail. We only ever saw
wouldn't there.
mule. So interesting.
so the sort of the line of demarcation is the Cascade Crest.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And that's for mule deer and blacktail. Okay, so if you shoot a buck in the whatever, just barely over the line in western Washington, that's considered a blacktail.
Okay.
On the other side is considered a mule deer, unless it's a whitetail, which certainly northeast Washington is dominated by whitetails, and they're sort of an aggressive species. Also, they're kind of expanding into some of the
I have
shrub
heard
steppe.
that. I've heard that's happening in Alaska as well. Whitetail populations are now starting to crop up in Alaska.
Is that just because of their reproductive success rate?
And I think it's kind of tied to a changing climate too, right? Where it's just their habitat is expanding into, new areas where they can handle it.
It's something this is a weird correlation, but with seed mixes. So I design a lot of seed mixes for all over the U.S. and a lot of my time gets spent on that. And we obviously everything gets tested. You get a germination test, right? Well, we do things based on seeds per square foot. I mean, you're familiar with that. People ask me, well, how many pounds do I need per acre? I'm like, well, it depends on the species, and all this stuff. What you want is seeds per square foot. Mm-hmm. The problem is every seed, even if it germs, its success rate percentage is totally different depending on the species, right? You've got quantity versus quality. And then for whatever reason, some plants just have a much higher success rate per seed. And so trying to take that kind of like 4-dimensional aspect into creating the seed mixes is very difficult. And it's made me start to think about, just on a fauna side as well, what is not just their form when they're alive and how well do they live, but and how often do they breed, but what is the success rate of reproduction? And whitetail just do not fail. They just don't. They just have a kid every year. Ken and I had a long birds and the bees talk the other day. We were driving home from Missouri, and Kent was explaining how the cycle of a deer. Yeah. Again, I don't really hunt.
Freaked me out there for a minute.
Yeah. Ken's oldest kid is 8. You're close. Your time's close. Ken.
My dad, he'll hate me for mentioning this because he does listen to this podcast. He's like, he was over at my house on Christmas Day. He's like, man, I really failed you guys on that conversation, but I figured you'd figure it out. He's like, I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Man.
But no, this could be a whole podcast series, which is why we keep going down these rabbit trails, and I really want to go down one, and we have to do it. But I want to finish doing our prey rapid fire. So we got caribou. What about like what was I going to say with that? Oh, bison. Is there any evidence Now, granted, bison, they're their own rare thing too in the western pockets, but maybe like around Yellowstone where there are quite a few cats and definitely a huge herd of bison. Are they preying on calves much, or is the herd behavior of, a little bit of not really fight before flight with bison, but they, kind of like muskox almost, where they kind of form a wall around the calves
and bison they're pretty tough. I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard of them preying on bison. I'm sure it has happened. But it's not something that I'm.
What was the most shocked kill site you've ever seen? The most shocked you've ever been seeing a kill site? Whether it was what was killed or what seemed to transpire?
I mean, other cats, when a lion kills another cat and has it, cached away to eat.
Do you think those are territory fights that turn into, or do you think it's just one was hungry and...
I think it's some of both. I don't know. When they certainly kill each other sometimes in a territorial dispute, but that's not good for business to fight to the death anytime you encounter another male. It's just not good biologically. But I think when they have one that they've killed and buried, it's probably just a predatory attack. I mean, if they get in a fight over territory and one happens to die, I don't know if they would eat it or not. I don't know.
It's wild.
That is very interesting. Do they do any preying on other predators? Like, will they go after a black bear cub or?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yep. Wild.
How do
story
they?
A couple years ago.
There's nothing more dangerous than any kind of sow.
Yeah.
That's got cubs. That's a death sentence for most things.
Yeah. Yeah. They and wolves.
Crazy.
A single wolf happens upon a lion. The lion will kill it. A pack of wolves happens upon a lion, and they'll tree it, and sometimes they kill the lions.
Really?
We had a wild story a few years, 2-3 years ago now, up in North Idaho. A friend of mine has the same group of dogs. All my hunting partners all kind of hunt together. He's turned loose on a female lion track just to train dogs and take a picture. Wasn't going to kill it. Trailed it up the hill and had 2 dogs trailing, and one of them went silent, like radio silent, which is a bad sign. And he hiked up and found the dog dead and partially eaten, and found cat tracks everywhere, like 2 cats. Figured it was a female with a almost adult, subadult hanging around. Got his dog, left, and the next day, another guy went up and had the same thing happen. Like, the cat set up an ambush and learned pretty quick that a dog doesn't mean that much and they can kill a dog. So that cat killed 2 dogs in 2 days. Obviously, nobody's going to run it now. Like, everybody's scared to death of this thing and avoiding the whole area. Yeah. So Bruce, the guy that we hunt with, who's an outfitter and guide up there, hiked up to figure out, what's going on with this. He went up, no dogs or anything, and he found what had happened. These cats had been kind of living in this area, so they're making tracks for the dogs to follow, but it was all kind of centered around this spot, and it was a cedar tree, huge 6-foot diameter cedar tree, western red cedar, probably 150 feet tall, hollowed out at the bottom, and the whole area was just beat down in the snow with cat tracks. Like, they'd been living there for some period of time, and they had been working on digging a bear out of a den underneath that tree.
Whoa.
Which is like the first time we've heard of that happening. And it's one of those things I guess this probably happens. But never been documented before. Really interesting thing.
Yeah, that is fascinating.
Yeah. So,
will they go after grizzly cubs too? Is there any?
I suppose. I don't know. Hasn't been documented yet, but just because.
But if a bear's hibernating, it's not.
They wake up pretty
just
quick.
A cub, right?
Yeah, it could have been an adult. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know what else was crazy? That guy who just was like, I'll figure out where they're at by himself. What the heck?
He's pretty sporty.
You know where the lions and the bears are fighting.
You know where they killed 2 dogs in 2 days? That's where you'll find me.
Yeah.
That's also Bart. Bart does the same thing.
Yeah.
Man, have you ever been worried? You ever?
Yeah,
like,
this is a good transition to the last chapter of the show here. That I mean, human lion interactions. And maybe I'll start it by saying this, and we can.
That's
get
the
to how
first
you-
chapter of the show, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Is that what we were going to start with?
Yeah.
we have now made it to the intro of this podcast.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's just so many rabbit trails I want to go down. Oh, the one I wanted to go down really bad.
I like how you call them rabbit trails. I feel like it's squirreling.
Yeah. I stayed
That's
up
what we
too late
call it
last
with our kids. Squirrel.
Yeah. The one I thought of, you said wherever there's an abundance of deer, lions will be there. That's becoming the case in the Midwest. You hear more stories even in the Great Lakes part of the Northwest. And our mutual friend Lindsay and I don't know, have you met Doug yet?
No.
Yeah, okay,
No.
But Doug and Lindsay are very close. They both work together on sharing the land. We're great friends with both of them. Doug, where he is located in southwest Wisconsin, possibly the highest density of deer. I don't know, there might be places in Michigan or Pennsylvania, maybe upstate New York, something like that, where they might be higher. But definitely one of the highest whitetail deer density locations in the country. With that, they are battling chronic wasting disease terrible. In 2024, the township where Doug is located, the deer tested through harvest that year had a prevalency of 40%. And that's the number one management concern there, right? Well, I don't even think it's been a year, maybe a year. Research came out showing that, hey, bobcats and mountain lions, their gut is like the one thing other than concentrated bleach. And I think it takes a heat source that is higher than what is used for cleaning medical instruments. It's like something like 800 degrees or something to denature these prions. Turns out cat guts will do it. And if you don't denature them, they can stay viable in the soil indefinitely. They know at least 10 years that these prions can stay viable in the soil and can infect a deer after, if it's like in a feeding area or something like that. So is it possible that maybe the best medicine for these areas with super high deer densities and super high prevalencies of chronic wasting disease, that the cat population would be allowed to expand back in there? Or is it, what I wonder is, if you historically look at it, there just really isn't much evidence that there were ever a large number of cats in these areas. And so what I'm asking for is not ecologically possible or even best, case scenario.
I don't know. I mean, I think that area could certainly support a population of cougars. Social tolerance would be the driving force of that. And there would for sure be incidents of depredation,
tons of cattle.
Yeah, and cattle are pretty low on the list. If you're going back to that, cattle would be like a 1. Like they just don't kill that many cattle. Where we're at now in the Southwest, they do kill some cattle down there. But I mean, it would be a cornucopia in some of those places for cougars for a long time.
Yeah. Just because there's so many deer.
Yeah, right. There's small game, there's deer, if there's adequate cover would be my concern. And then, like I said, social tolerance. If they start killing pets and livestock, which they would, I mean, they're still going to kill sheep and goats and things like that. So the level of outreach to get people to, have livestock guardian dogs and electric fences and all this stuff that we work on to kind of protect people's property, that would be a heavy lift in the upper Midwest. Not impossible, but it would be pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that would, I don't think I'd want to consider that the silver bullet for CWD. I mean, we have lots of cats and quite a few deer, fairly high densities in places, and we've just started finding CWD in Washington the last 2 years.
So it's a
right
ride.
near where we live. Yeah,
Even
it's here.
despite having a healthy cat
Yep.
population.
Yep.
That probably
Yeah,
answers it.
I mean, like Colorado has
Yeah.
lots of cats, lots of CWD.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the answer. No.
Well, their gut might not be the answer for CWD, but I am curious, Ken, about the whole cat gut thing. How are you enjoying your coffee this morning?
Oh, no. A long-standing joke on here. Nick has a coffee shop, and evidently there is a taste out there for cat poop coffee.
What?
Yes.
Well, I think it's. I don't think it's technically cats. It's like some weird lemur thing.
There's both.
Oh, is there? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it is like they feed these mammals this coffee, and they collect the poop afterwards because I guess it does something to the coffee beans. They wash them off, and it's like our coffee beans, we sell them for like $19 a pound or something, and this will be like $100, $120 a pound.
Yeah, it's some weird like fetishist thing
And
or something.
I'm like gonna get Kent to drink it
No,
at some
you're
point.
not. No.
He won't know. He
You
won't
get
even know.
toxoplasmosis, right? That's another cat.
How much do you
I
think you
guess
could
that's
sell
a
Cougar
doctor.
poop
Yeah.
coffee for?
Here in
We can-
Knoxville,
see if we can
Iowa,
work out a deal.
Yeah.
This is our one chance to talk about toxoplasmosis with a neonatologist. Is that? I mean,
I have
you
no
always
idea
hear
what's
about.
going on
So
here.
I've been roped into cleaning the cat litter box
It's real.
for 3 pregnancies.
It's real.
The 4th pregnancy, my son was old enough that I made him do it. I mean, like that's a real concern
Yeah, it
for
is.
expectant
It's a
mothers.
congenital. So it becomes a congenital infection for the baby. So yeah, and it's in the cat feces.
Yeah.
So really prevalent. So you're supposed to not change the litter when you're pregnant. Of course,
Interesting.
I did.
Have you ever come across that clinically?
Yeah.
Like where someone has developed toxic
The babies,
the baby?
yeah. They usually have like in utero, you'll notice a small size head, and then
Really?
they have like calcifications on the brain.
Really?
Is that a high mortality rate?
Not always a mortality, but it definitely they'll have disabilities.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a cat gut bacteria thing that.
It's like one of the wildest critters on the planet.
Yeah, it's not a bacteria, but it's
Protist. Yeah.
it's like a
And
it's like a spirochete or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is.
I used to teach biology, so I'd always talk about toxins with my students. I'd be like, I had a way I would say it was like, it's a parasitic, mind-controlling protist.
Yeah.
Because they can only sexually reproduce in the digestive
Oh, this
tract
is
of
the one
cats.
that like takes over the
Of small mammals, rats and
because
mice.
they need to get eaten by a cat.
They call it the Machiavellian microbe because it like makes what is dangerous seem safe. So it causes like rats and mice to crave the smell of cat urine. And it leads
beautiful.
like a zombie, a sheep before the slaughter. That mouse, that rodent will wander out to where it can be killed. I kind of wonder if that's what happened with that rat in the shop that we had at work. That our cat that is named Dog. It's also named Lugnuts for obvious reasons. He just showed up one day. He's a great cat, but he's
spoiled.
Yeah, he's spoiled, and he peed in the shop the other day, and next thing you know, there's a dead rat. So I kind of wonder if that rat was infected with toxoplasmosis.
Blah.
Riley cleaned it up, so it's not my problem.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're out. We had to hit it while we were on there, but we need to talk about the negative human interactions with cats. 5 years ago, I'm an avid hunter. I hunted the West for the first time in 2022. I went on a spring bear hunt, definitely in lion country. There were lion scat everywhere. That was one of the coolest things. Like I learned that hunting spring bears is all about elevation. You hear, follow the snow line, that kind of thing. But also, you can see where other animals are living based on the scat. Like, I think it was around 3,000 feet. You'd see a lot of, maybe 3 to 4 is like a lot of moose. And then you go up to like 4 to 5 is a lot of bear. Get up above there, now you're seeing cat scat everywhere, and elk too. You'd see a lot of elk up high too. I thought it was just cool. It's like, oh, there was a mountain lion here. It could be anywhere. This is great. I'm not worried at all. Well, then, what was it? 2023, those two
Brothers.
brothers that were in their 20s that were shed hunting,
Yeah.
full-grown men, shed hunting, broad daylight in California, right?
Yeah.
And they both got attacked, one of which was killed. It's like, whoa. And then, like I've been saying, you start seeing more and more of these occurrences. People actually getting attacked, maybe dogs getting attacked in someone's yard, killed right in someone's yard or something. And it's like, I was probably a little bit naive to be thinking, this is great. Wouldn't it be awesome if a mountain lion is just looking down at me right now? And now I feel like almost the only other thing I really get worried about would be like maybe stumbling across a sow with cubs.
Oh man.
Or just any grizzly bear. I definitely have a little paranoia when I'm in bear country. But wolves not on my concern list. And mountain lion, I'd say they were right there with wolves. Zero concern. But now I don't feel that way anymore. Has something shifted? Is it just because we've cinched down on mountain lions with our development? More people are in more lion country all the time. Maybe protections like California has on hunting lions, their populations have swelled to a point where you just have more conflict. I mean, or maybe it's just always the same, but because people have camera phones now and the message gets, the bite heard around the world is more common. What's going on with these human cat interactions?
I think it's a little bit of all those things, and certainly the news gets out, right? Like, if there's an attack, the news is out pretty quick through social media, through whatever technology. But there's also been an uptick in that sort of incident with people, and I don't know exactly. Nobody knows what's causing it. The idea that we're encountering cougars more frequently, that's possible. Maybe there's more people out recreating in cougar country, and cougar country may have more cougars than we used to have. I think both of those things are possibilities. So let's start back in like 2018 or so. I'll kind of touch on the research that we were working on. That all started because of an upswing in cougar incidents, cougar reports and sightings and complaints and different things.
What year was that?
It's like 2017 and 18. So
okay, so it's been a little while already.
No, I've been helping the state for a long time, manage cougar conflict in Northeast Washington. So when a cat kills something, whoever has the pet or livestock typically calls the state of Washington, and then they call a hound handler to come out and sort of catch the cat and figure out if they're going to kill it or what they're going to do. So we went like a decade where we would get 5 or 6 calls in a year and have to go out and deal with this. And then that started just like rapidly increasing. 2017 it doubled, and 18 it doubled, and by 2019 it was like twice a week we're getting called out.
Wow.
And
wow,
social tolerance is just plummets, right? And again, it's in the news, it's all over social media, and people are talking about it, and it's like it's kind of at the front of people's minds in these rural communities. And then it's real. It's not it's not contrived. It's not made up.
Yeah.
They're seeing it. It's happened to their neighbors. But in 2019, Bruce, the guy that walked up and checked out the bear den, he and I worked together real closely on those calls. We killed like almost 70 cats just in this small area.
Wow.
In 3 counties in Northeast Washington. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's like, we figured at that point, we have to do something. This is an actual problem. How do we address this? What can we do? Obviously there's a human element. People need to find a way to better protect livestock, fencing, mechanical protection, fencing, whatever, electric fence, bringing them into buildings overnight, which is good for hobby farms. And that's a lot of the places we end up in, 20 acre little sheep farm or something like that, 4-H animals. And then livestock guardian dogs and all these things that have to happen, right? Which increases the cost of a hobby farm and, the number of sort of souls on board when you have extra dogs to feed and all these other things.
I like the extra souls on board. That's
Yeah.
a good reference.
We have a lot of them.
Yeah, just on the drive over this morning, I said, I was like, well, one of these days we need to take inventory and see how many souls we have on board the farm. It's getting up there. So we're trying to, you always try to address all those other things, but there's never been a way to address like the wild component, not the cougar, right? How do you figure that out? And that was the basis of the research. And, technology happened to be coming along right at the same time that this problem and idea was coming along. So that's how we developed our, aversive conditioning project. So when we talk about cougar behavior, my sort of hypothesis, my idea at the time was like anything, they're going to learn, right? They're smart. If the house cat jumps up on the counter and you spray it with a water bottle a couple of times, it figures out pretty quick, I better not jump up on the counter, or at least I better not jump up on the counter while they're around.
That's right. That's how cats do it.
Right.
I just know they do.
Yeah. Well, so then, that's kind of what we were thinking with the Cougar project as we developed that. It's like, what can we do to make these cats more afraid of people or dogs barking or, sheep, whatever noise they make baying. So we set up this project where we'd collar a cat and we'd put a GPS collar on it. So I knew right where the cat was and right where we were and the dogs. And we'd approach the cat with a speaker, just playing a human voice. Just figured every,
It was a Meat Eater podcast.
Yeah, it was a Meat Eater podcast. Yeah. And I like their podcasts because they edit out any empty space,
Sure.
So it's
Constant
constant noise, right? And that's what we needed. So we'd approach the cat and, see how close it'd let us get. And then once it sort of mobilized and ran off, we'd stop and we'd have that distance. And I knew all right, here's where I'm at. Here's where the cat was when it ran off. And then I could watch where the cat went. And when it stopped moving, now we know how far it went, right? So what's the level of concern maybe? Then we turned the dogs loose.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
And the dogs would track to me, and then I'd put them on the cougar scent, and they'd run it and tree it. And the first time we'd catch it in the tree, we'd shoot it with paintballs and kind of holler at it and leave the speaker going and whatever, just make some noise and make this pretty uncomfortable situation. And you have to imagine this cat, it's living out in the silent, right? It's it doesn't hear a lot out there other than natural noises.
They're great at being undetected.
Right.
It's like the opposite of...
Right. And this here comes
complete detection.
Yeah, just cacophony, like dogs and people and all this stuff had to be pretty unnerving. And then we leave and come back a week later and repeat it. And so each cat then would have its own data set. And so each week we'd gather a new set of points, but that we could compare them back to each other and say, this cat, learned pretty quick to avoid that human voice stimuli because it knew that this aversive conditioning action was about to happen.
The cat would start running much faster when he'd start approaching with the podcast. That's
Interesting.
with the hazing.
Changing,
Wow.
So he'd start. So the cat, initially when he's doing the control, you could approach, and just walk right on top of it. And then as soon as you hazed, even after how many times? Twice. Then the cat, as soon as that podcast, as he's approaching, that cat would flee faster. So you'd have a much further distance when it starts fleeing.
Would its level of concern go up in terms of how far it would go?
Yeah.
Really?
Both went up.
That's a good question.
Yep.
Yes.
So it's called a flight initiation distance project, and they're easy with birds, right? There's been a bunch of them on crows and ravens and stuff like that, smart birds. Yeah. But birds are easy because you can see them. They're sitting out on a fence post or something. The technology really didn't exist to do that with cougars until this GPS stuff that we worked with Garmin to get developed. But the cats figured out pretty quick, that stimuli, that human voice is a concern. And over the course of the project, each cat was collared for about 5 weeks. So we got 4 data points on most of them. They figured out pretty quickly to run sooner and run further and get away from that. And then the control cats, so we'd do a control study first, have that collar on for 4 weeks, and we'd approach that cat with no stimuli, and those cats' distance shrunk.
Wow.
So we're able to see, all right,
So you can
Basically,
train them.
You can train them, but we also sort of
You can reverse
Right.
train him too.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
if you're at a park and there's no negative stimuli, they're going to let people get closer and closer and closer
right.
at that park.
Well, I mean, the cats, their adaptability is so extreme, which we talked about right at the beginning of the podcast, just from a form and function standpoint, that I'm sure their intelligence and habituation is off the charts on what they're able to be comfortable with or become very uncomfortable with. Here's what I'm curious about. That's great for, let's say you did a ton of cats. You did 500 cats. I mean, that still does not seem like a high percentage of the cats in the area, or, over several states. Do you start then training farmers to go out there and make noise and shoot them with paintballs? And then how do you get them collared to even try that? I don't know. What do you go with that?
you're onto something actually there. So, yeah, so we have this, we're able to demonstrate sort of habituation, right? If this cat is in close proximity to people, frequently with no negative interaction, they become habituated. A habituated animal is more likely to be in close proximity, more comfortable, whatever. So, that's a good question. How do you make this sort of landscape scale? And I think the easiest solution is to, have recreational or whatever management opportunities for people to go use their dogs and train, chase these cats around. But beyond that is, have a proactive response rather than waiting, You said like everybody has a Ring doorbell or a trail camera. Like when those cats are hanging around, go chase them. Take that opportunity to go chase that cat. It's non-lethal, doesn't hurt the cat. It's just an opportunity then to hopefully get that cat to, be more fearful and respectful of space for people.
Yeah.
And I think we could have used, had this been unlimited time and budget and all the things, like what would happen if we'd have used, a recording of a dog barking as we approached, or the recording of children playing, or any stimuli that, an engine running, anything that a cat might encounter around developed, a farm or whatever, would have been appropriate.
Well, you guys have established a proof of concept.
Right.
it would be nice to know if it lasts too.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what,
Yeah, they're never actually hurting me. They're just scaring me. Yeah.
Well,
like
and
that
then
kind of
in 6 months down the road, could we reapproach this cat and see, do they still have that flight initiation distance? Like, is it still far?
They're pretty smart, but I don't know.
And that's what you hope.
And what do you say that about?
Would opening like a very controlled hunting season over a long period of time, would that train the cats? Like, hey, you got to stay away?
Yes. So, like California has no cougar hunting, right? They have a lot of people. They have a lot of cats. They have a lot of good habitat. There's a lot of people out in that habitat too. So encounter rates are pretty high. Like a place like that could really use some negative interactions. During the project, I got a call from some folks down by San Francisco that their big land managers park. I don't know what exactly the place was, but it's a park. Cats hanging around their picnic areas, and rather than, they're like, well, is this something, maybe could you come down and haze this cat? And it's like, I mean, yeah, it's like,
got quite a
it's
price
like 15
tag.
hours away.
Yeah, it's
but,
quite a price tag.
yeah, it's like,
that trip.
I mean, it's not impossible, but we've got this park closed so that, so there's no incidents. Like, well, why don't you grab a paintball gun and go out? Like, it's just laying under the picnic table right now. Yeah. It's like, well, just go shoot at it. Like, just go shoot a flashbang at it.
Yeah.
Like what we've been doing with bears in Yellowstone for the last 30 years. Like, treat it that way. Like, be mean to that animal. You don't have to kill it, but it needs to know that, like, something bad's about to happen if I'm that close to people. So that, I mean, I think that's the long-term solution, is just that sort of a change in how we handle those situations. And it happened this summer. We had a collared cougar over on the Olympic Peninsula attack a child, like a 8-year-old kid. And it was a serious attack. They got life flighted out. Well, that cat had been hanging around this trailhead and this recreation area for a couple of weeks, and the Park Service had actually closed the park to visitors, and the cat hung around, and when they reopened it, the cat was still there and it attacked somebody. Like, what a disaster.
Yeah.
And what a simple solution. Like,
Yeah.
go chase that thing out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you're kind of anti-hunt, you know, if you have an area that they don't want hunting, you can still open a, like, what do you call it?
The pursuit.
The pursuit ones, where they have in Washington, they have some where you can just run your dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So you tree them, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
shoot them, but you can run, you know, there's certain, and you could do that, things like that.
I like
So-
the paintball
So
idea.
that's illegal to just take a team of hounds and run them on a cat in California, even though you're not intending to harm the cat. I just want to, you know, have almost like a sporting thing with my dogs.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the definition of like take, right? You know, hunting, and there's all the, you know, the legal definition of take is also harassing or pursuing. So yeah, that's illegal.
What's the, you know, huge can of worms. I have 2 cans of worms I want to open before we close for the
for it.
next 10
Oh,
minutes.
good. Yeah, yeah.
But dangerous, I know. Right wing wants to get rid of the Endangered Species Act. They're it's very
'Cause
clear
we can
that
clone
it's-
animals
it's- Yeah, and that's honestly been mentioned, right? Doug Burgum, not a huge fan of the ESA, big fan of 3D printing our endangered animals as needed. But then left wing, like you go to California, absolutely not. There will be no hunting of these animals. I know they're killing people. I know that they're closing down our parks. We're just going to have to work around that problem. What I understand the right wing mindset. It's exploitative, right? Those animals are in the way of it's a whole spotted owl deal with logging back in the 80s. Those owls are in the way of money making timber, man. That's easy to see the motive there. What's the motive for the left wing side of it? Where, nope, absolutely not. What are they hoping? Are they hoping to eventually, if so be it, if there's more lions living here than there's deer, than there's English sparrows, than there's people? That's just how it happens when you just totally let go of nature and she'll work herself out. Is that the mindset, or is it just no? We really like lions. We want a lot of lions.
Yeah.
Or
I
is
mean,
it just we really hate hunting and we don't want any of that going on?
it's a combination of all those things, probably, right? Like, you care about caribou all of the sudden because now you know something about them and
Yeah.
you know that they're imperiled.
Yeah, I'm a huge caribou advocate as of today.
Right. Well, that's what I mean, right? Like, I'm
a
real
little too
passionate
late.
about caribou. So now here's somebody that, you know, they're getting fed this line that, like, well, cougars are imperiled. Like, they're being harassed by these, you know, vicious animals, dogs and people. And like, it's an easy thing to fall into that trap,
Yeah,
you know, and all of a sudden, well, even though they're totally disconnected from cougars, like their opportunity to like live among cougars or see cougars or encounter cougars is very low. They care about it. So there's this intrinsic value to them, similar to what you have to caribou, right? But they don't know. They don't know. And they're being fed this line from anti-hunting groups and other groups that are, you know, making a bunch of money.
yeah.
So it's also, you know, exploiting a
How do
resource in a way
anti-hunting groups make money?
from people sending them checks.
Yeah,
To
be a
fight,
member,
yeah,
be a member.
that's right.
American, what is it? The Humane Society.
Yeah, right. I mean, people leave
Not the American. Is it? It's not. They're not the
the
same
Humane
thing.
Society USA or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a distinction there. We're not saying both are the
HSUS,
same.
yeah.
But,
So, I mean, yeah, and I think the ESA, like, you know, caribou are a fantastic example of being a victim of the ESA.
yeah.
Here's a species that's listed on the endangered species list. It's the most imperiled mammal
Yeah.
in the lower 48 for, you know, almost a decade. the same time that stuff is happening, same time like caribou are going away, wolves are being reintroduced, and wolves are eating caribou. We have documented collared caribou being killed by wolves. We know that that's happening. Wolves are also on the endangered species list, so we can't kill them. So we come to this, this place where wolves are on a meteoric increase across the West, and caribou are plummeting. And it's like,
same with grizzlies too, right?
I mean, they're increasing,
And,
not as fast as wolves for sure, but
definitely past in a lot of areas.
In places,
past their target population, no longer endangered, but they remain on the list.
Yep,
right?
yep. But here now we're handcuffed. We can't remove wolves to save caribou. And when Canada started doing it, we got Miley Cyrus tweeting like "Save the wolves," and it's like the wolves don't need saved. The caribou needs saved, and nobody knows that part of the story, right? Yeah. So, I think. The endangered species, I think wolves did more to harm ESA than almost anything in the West, because people just lost trust. And we have all these other success stories, right? Like bald eagles are like flourishing. Yeah. I remember seeing the first bald eagle in my life when I was a kid in Madison County, and it was a big deal. Like I still remember it, 40 years later. They're doing well, and now they're removed from the list. And it's like, that's what that's for. So... These environmental groups, they're sophisticated and they're well funded, and they have probably better lawyers than the federal agencies do, and certainly better lawyers than our hunting groups do and wildlife advocates do. So they just keep winning, and they have, they've got this figured out.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just so hard to see what it's to me, and maybe I'm just simplifying it. It's very easy to see the motivation for the right wing side of it. I don't agree with it, but it's easy to detect. The left wing, which I also don't agree with, I'm a firmly in the middle kind of guy. Very non-committal. Like to sit on fence. No, I'm just kidding. I have strong feelings.
The right answer is typically going to fall in the middle, right?
Somewhere in but it's just harder to detect what anchoring motivation there is there for the hands off and don't you dare even think about violating that.
The picture I'm getting as you're talking is a giant puzzle, and every flora and every fauna species is a piece of the puzzle, and there's a spot for humans, but the problem is our puzzle piece is 8 times the size of that spot, and it doesn't match it at all, and we're just trying to jam it in there as well as we can.
That's a great
And there's just going to be a bunch of collateral on every side of every way. So the ESA, well-meaning people, well-meaning conservationists, just still causing harm at times when they're trying to do good things. And then also on the right-wing side, when there are real cases of like, hey, that endangered species list ruined my family's financial welfare. And now we really are victims of a system. I understand, but it all just kind of comes back to we're just going to jam our way of living into the world around us, and it's going to deal with it, you know. And
we're great at having our cake and eating it too.
Oh, we love that. We love cake all around. Yes, we do.
So the last can of worms related to this.
Thanks for letting us hold you hostage in my kitchen all
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
Thanks for hanging out with us.
I'm just telling you, we could do like a whole series with you guys. This is just fascinating. And I'm tickled that we got to ask you about toxic plasmosis.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just having fun listening. This is a lot of fun.
So the last can of worms, related but not cats, grizzlies. I've heard countless times, and you've probably heard countless more times. Yep, a grizzly in Alaska is very different. An inland grizzly or an interior grizzly, right? Isn't that how you break them down? Coastal grizzlies versus interior grizzlies is very different than a lower 48 grizzly. Because in Alaska, hunters can kill, if you want to kill a grizzly right now, I think the only place you can go is Alaska, right? Because what was the province? BC. They outlawed grizzly hunting recently within the last 10 years.
Because of population decline, or
because of California
Because of Vancouver.
type of mentality. And people will say behavior of grizzlies in the lower 48 is much more aggressive towards humans because they perceive no threat coming from humans because they haven't been hunted by humans in the lower 48 for a century plus. And the reason I relate it to this is because you're doing truly a human animal behavior research showing that, yes, if you increase negative pressure on a king of the hill predator, it does change how it views being around humans. Do you think, and obviously cats are not bears and humans aren't either of them, so we can't, I can never say this word, anthropomorphize. That's how it is. We can't do that, with animals. Do you think there's any, just from your observations with lions, do you think there's any credence to that off side? And it's not, I don't hear this coming from biologists. I hear it coming from hunters, right? Do you think there's anything to that? And maybe, Brooke, maybe you've living in bear country in both places, maybe this is something you've observed yourself. I don't know, that they're a different animal because of the lack of hunting pressure, because of protections.
I've never seen a brown bear in northeastern Washington.
Well, describe brown bear and grizzly bear in Alaska terms.
I find it really interesting that everyone's scared of bears. I'm not. We run into them a lot.
In Alaska, you're saying?
And they're pretty... brown bears, black bears are a little scarier, to be honest, because when you run into them, they're a little bit... They tend to be more like a nuisance, and they might be hungry when they're coming, when they're in your area, and they're scarier to me. Brown bears, as long as you kind of respect their territory and you're letting them know you're getting out of the way, they tend to be okay. I mean, I've run into a lot of bears, like with my dad and just fishing in Alaska. We would go to Kodiak all the time. Every Memorial Day, we'd fish for about a week in Kodiak on this river.
That's a pretty hardcore family trip.
I had a very different...
Like all they did.
Yeah, we were always... My dad's a bush pilot, and we were always out in the woods. So never...
Brooke's bedtime story to our 3 boys, 8 and under, last night was about her as an 8-year-old getting lost in the bush in Alaska while they had flown into some backcountry caribou camp.
Yeah.
By yourself?
All right,
you were lost?
Good night, boys.
I got lost.
Sleep well.
It was one of ours, his 8-year-old's birthday yesterday, and so I was like, well, when I was 8. And then Rowan, our oldest son, was like, that was really scary, Mom. I don't like the idea of you being lost.
How did you get found? How did you find your way back?
I ended up, I saw our airplane that was probably 3 miles away, and I just started running to it. Because I squirreled.
Miles?
Like, I freaked out. I lost binoculars that had been given to me. And so the client had given them to me to let me use them. And so I was so excited that he let me use them, but then I set them down and came back with my dad. And then my dad goes, where are his binoculars? And I'm like, oh, no. And so I said, I know where they are, and I threw this and I took off running.
Yeah.
And I ran up over the peak. And then when I got over the peak, I don't know which way I went, but Dad came over and I was gone. My dad's like, oh my God, I just lost my kid. My wife's going to kill me.
Oh, man.
And so he's yelling, I'm yelling for him. I can't find him anywhere. And I did totally what you're not supposed to do and just start running, freaking out.
Yikes.
And then I saw the airplane and I just started running down the mountain. And then they saw me finally when I was partway down.
Did you find the binoculars?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, man.
And then, at the end,
you come walking in like, what?
I
told you I was going to get him.
No, so Dad calls me back. I'm crying, and I get back to my dad, and he goes, now let's go find those binoculars. Okay. And so we found them.
You did have to go back.
Yeah, I had to go back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dad's, yeah. And then we got the binoculars. And then
I thought you came strolling into camp with them.
No, at the end of the trip, The guy
So I do a little scout while I was out there.
the guy gave them to me,
Oh,
which
did
was
he?
really sweet. I still have them. And
That's
then,
awesome.
like, when I graduated from high school, I remember he wrote me a letter and talked about, like, going out with a 8-year-old on a hunting trip and how cool it was to see a girl
Yeah.
out there. So it's neat.
That's cool.
amazing.
Man. Yikes.
We'll get back.
The
I'm gonna-
bears. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try to touch on a little bit. Okay, for the whatever. In Alaska, typically they call like a brown bear is a bear that's eating salmon.
They're
And
coastal.
coastal,
Yeah.
and a grizzly
Supposedly
bear.
they're all just grizzlies now, right?
Well, I mean,
Isn't that what
it's the
everyone-
same species.
so we
right?
never
Every
call them.
Alaskan I talked to is like, no, they're just different animals.
Yeah,
They are
But
different.
they are, and
Yeah.
they're different diet, different size, different area, all the
The
things.
coastals are big.
Coastals are
They
big.
get like 11 feet tall, don't they? Like some of the biggest
Yeah.
boars. They
Brooke got one.
But
of
they're
those
not
at
officially a
almost 10
subspecies.
I got on, yeah,
a couple years ago. Yeah,
2
Big
years
one.
ago.
that's
big
That's
one.
crazy.
9 foot.
9
10?
foot 10, and yeah, something like that.
I mean, where we're sitting right now is probably roughly directly below the coffee ordering counter. If that thing was standing up, its head would probably be like close to the middle of the counter.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Its skull was 28,
It's huge.
27 and 11
Yeah, that's
sixteenths or
goodness.
something.
Yeah, it's a 21-year-old
monster.
bear. It's got
Yeah.
almost no teeth left. Just a really
That
good
was
bear.
such a cool story.
It's a good one.
man.
That's so incredible.
Do you still like every time you see a bear? Does your heart like, and you're close enough to it? Does your heart elevate, or are you super chill where you're just like, all right, wait a minute?
Oh, I'm so chill. I am the chillest person here. No, of course it elevates.
yeah,
But I mean,
they're
you
different,
talk,
right?
you talk. Yeah, if you talk, they usually respect you. I mean, I'm a lot more scared of sharks when I'm swimming in an ocean than I am
Yeah.
of bears. But then
Yeah.
you talk to a Hawaiian, right?
Yeah,
Like my family who lives in Hawaii. We have family in Hawaii and Alaska, and in Hawaii, they don't care about the sharks, but they care about the bears when they're visiting us. So
That
you
is
know,
so
it's
interesting.
who you're
That is
used
weird.
to.
Yeah, it's like tornadoes in Iowa. You're just
Oh.
like, oh, it's just a tornado.
No, and
what are you
us.
doing?
Well, Owen, the youngest,
6-year-old
is
is,
like
like,
asking. He's like, "Are they
watching
going to
the
be
sky.
here? Where are the tornadoes?" And we're like, "They're not here right now."
I think I saw lightning.
They're moving east. I don't know if you guys saw Tornado Valley's like shifted over.
Oh,
They're moving further east in
That's
terms
all
of number of sightings.
But we got to let them
Okay,
finish.
brown
this.
bear,
All right.
brown bear,
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I think
Go,
that,
Bart.
I think our bear, like Yellowstone bears, are probably the same as the interior Alaska bears, but for campgrounds and 7 million visitors a year, and ecotourism and all the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've learned.
Yep, I think they've learned. I also think they benefit
When
from.
you say learn, they learn that there's
food there.
There's a cooler there, or have they learned these people pose no threat to me?
Probably both.
Okay.
Yep. They've learned, like, if there's a cooler there that's not well secured, they can come in and grab it and nothing's going to happen. They have been hazed. They've been chased. There's a Carillion bear dog program there. If a bear's hanging around, they get shot with rubber bullets. It's pretty aggressive stuff. And the same with like rural Montana and rural Idaho and Wyoming and places, around Yellowstone that bears, wander out. They're not welcomed in somebody's yard trashing a tree. They're going to get chased off. There's farm dogs and things like that. So they've learned that through aversive conditioning. As far as, hunter attacks and things like that, I don't know if that's dissimilar than what you would see in Alaska if there was that many people in the backcountry in Alaska encountering bears. Like you're dealing with a huge elk population, a lot of hunters out there sneaking around covered in elk piss and, blowing an elk call.
Right.
Like the incidence rate's going to be higher.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's any difference in behavior necessarily.
Yeah.
Even with one campsite, they still come destroy one campsite. Like there's no tents anywhere, and they'll still come and get any food out of your campsite. I mean,
And they just follow their stomach and their nose more than a
Yeah.
cat does anyway. Like they're more willing to take a risk for food.
Interesting.
I had a friend who worked for Fish and Game in Alaska and would work the fishing weirs out and they would hit them with not even just rubber bullets, but a lot of times because they break the weirs and they climb over and they'd be and they'd come back every day, even with the negative.
Yeah, they'll do a lot for food. They'll put up with a lot of pain for food.
Interesting. Did you guys see that? Did you see this? The bear with only 2 legs.
Oh, Pedals the bear out
That
in
walks
New Jersey.
around.
It is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. That bear
That'd be
looks
terrifying.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a ghoul or
That
something.
is not the take though most people have taken.
Yeah.
They think that is the most adorable bear. there.
Yeah, horrifying.
Did somebody shoot Pedals at some point or something? Was
Yeah,
there?
it seems in
seemed
my
like there
head,
was some
yeah.
serious controversy.
Yeah,
around
I
Pedals
don't remember
the bear.
how he ended up that way, and I don't know the fate. I've seen the clip of him walking. I agree with you. I think
Yeah.
it's like grotesque.
Yeah.
How about
Well, it chased another
Blondie
bear.
walked. The one that we were watching, he walked on 2
Yeah, we had a big
lot,
brown bear that walked around a bit like that.
Huh.
Man.
just to get sense.
Yeah, but when we landed we got Brooke's brown bear in a spot that her dad duck hunts a lot, and when we got there, we didn't even have camp set up, and there was a bear walking behind the plane. Not one that we wanted to kill, but
And we couldn't. that day
yeah, we
anyway.
couldn't because we just landed the plane. You can't shoot the same day as you fly, but
Is that just to make sure you're not scoping them out? And then
Yeah,
landing
it's
next
not
to them?
legal.
illegal scouting and stuff.
We'll just fly around this whole
Right.
hunting area real quick.
But and Leonard's like, those bears aren't going to cause any trouble. They've been like, we duck hunt here, and if a bear comes around, they like get a warning shot. So they kind of know to stay away from us.
But he came and he checked us out, and he's because their vision's not good, right? So he's coming and he's trying, and as soon as he got a smell, he was gone.
Yeah,
Really?
they'll put up with a lot until they smell you, and they would. I mean, we're hunting in a place there's no trees for 50 miles. I mean, it's like a prairie with 2-inch high grass in the spring.
So it's just like tundra.
And the
maybe?
stock
Yes.
on him was neat.
Yeah, but if you get they'll put up with a lot, like you walking towards them, but when they get curious, they circle you to get the wind, and then the minute they do, they're gone. That's
really
I think
interesting.
any one of the bears, even the biggest bear in the valley, would have done that, just because they're pretty used to like negative
Yeah.
interactions with people out there. Even though we were kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Because the next day we tried to go after him,
Yeah.
and then when he saw us, he ran parallel to us. And Bart was trying to get me on a high point. My dad's running with us because Dad has to be with you, because he's the. So in Alaska,
He's the Alaskan resident.
yeah. So I'm next to Ken,
Yeah.
right? So he's
Yep.
So he's with me, and so we're running along. 'Cause my dad's 83. That's
Wow.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Stud.
So
I kind of want
we're.
to interview your dad.
You would love it, except he'd swear a lot. You'd be bleeping things
That's
out
all right.
a ton.
Yeah, we've had that before. Yeah.
Yep.
And so we're trying to get up onto a berm, basically. It's not even 6 feet, but we're just trying. And the bear is also just trying to intercept us. And I'm my heart is just pounding. I'm so glad we didn't actually have a shot on this one, because I was like,
It was like a warm up.
just like, and he got Bart and Dad yelling at me on both sides and all this stuff, and he came around and he comes on the other side of the berm and just gets the wind, lifts his head up enough to just get our scent, because he was checking us out the whole time to see, are they bad or good or what? It was really interesting. And as soon as he got it, he was,
Yeah.
I don't think we saw it.
But then when they're on a food source, like that was a bear hunt where we're looking for bears on, this more spread out food source. But we camped on a salmon stream for a moose hunt last year,
about that.
and there's bears everywhere. Like we had bears shake off and get water on our tent, and like bear tracks through
In the
camp.
first
Like
24 hours, we had 18 encounters.
there's bears
Oh
everywhere.
my goodness.
But they
It's crazy.
He's got a very tolerant wife.
didn't.
Yeah, evidently. Yeah.
It's like we didn't exist. They were there eating salmon, and as long as we weren't like right in their way,
Yeah.
like they just didn't care.
Yeah, I
about
didn't
us
mind
at
the
all.
boys. There was one sow. I didn't like her.
Yeah, there's a sow
I was
and cubs that we
nervous
kept an
about
eye
that
on.
one.
Oh man. Yeah.
But yeah, I think they just they figured it out that they can coexist with people maybe more easily than cats
I
can.
think so.
Yeah.
And I think that natural tendency for a cat to want to chase, and take, like they're a pursuit predator. If they see if your house cat sees a little Tinkerbell or a ball of yarn, it's
Yeah.
going to check it.
Right.
That natural tendency is, what keeps cougars alive, is also their detriment when there's people around.
The runner or the bicyclist going by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are bears closer related to dogs or to pigs?
Everybody said, I don't know that. They're
This was
different.
the argument that our daughter,
yeah.
Her teacher's like, they said they're related to pigs, and I don't think so. She was all upset.
Behaviorally, they would be more similar to pigs, probably, right?
I mean, as far as their diet.
Yeah, they spend so much time foraging on.
Yeah,
They
just
sure
digging
remind me
and-
more of a dog.
Yeah, they act more like
Way
a
they
dog.
act.
I mean, they're a charming animal. They're easy to
Yeah.
like.
Oh yeah, you see one, it's like, man, I kind of would like to give you a hug, but here, tear my face off.
I know.
Oh man, we could go for hours. This has been such an enjoyable conversation. I mean, it's the first conversation of 2026.
Yeah,
And
happy New Year.
we just did our year-end review of podcasts over the last year, and we said what our favorite podcasts were from the year. And this one, when we get
Setting
to our
a high bar.
2026
End of the year.
end of the year, this
Hope you
one
still
might set
remember
it.
us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we got a high bar for
this
this
is
year.
and we'd love to have you guys back on sometime. There, like I said, we could do like a series with you, just going down all these different rabbit trails. But we have two true, and everybody we interview is a difference maker to a point. But you guys have, through your careers, both of you been working in an area of extreme expertise, the highest level of expertise, wanting to make a difference. So, Nicholas, we need to revive your old ending question that we would end every podcast with.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, very lighthearted. You guys will have a quick answer for it. If you could snap your finger, change one thing about the world, what would you?
And it doesn't have to be within your area of
Yeah,
expertise.
it doesn't. It can be whatever you want,
But,
but it needs to be right. It needs to be correct.
anything you
I'll
could
go,
change
I'll go
about
with
the
an
world.
easy one.
Oh, don't,
I'd,
don't do it. Oh, you're not going to say the political one.
no.
Politics
Who
are
we're gonna get
fine.
rid
You
of?
might alienate yourself.
I would get Caribou back below the 49th parallel.
Wow,
Just
that's a great answer.
And I think that's something that we could see in our lifetime, but it's going to take more than a snap of the fingers. It's going to take some political will.
But a definite change in mentality
Yep.
of the majority of Americans,
Yep.
which would be a sign of health in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Brooke, what do you think?
Oh, man.
Any single thing.
And change one thing, like if I could snap my fingers.
And you guys are asking this to an overthinker. Like, this is.
we got all the time. We got all the
We're
time.
going to be editing out like 15 minutes of silence here.
That's fine. We've done
And
it
then in the
before.
car, I'm going to be like, I don't know if that was the right one. Dang it. No, mine would definitely be medicine related and for the health of the babies and everything. I think it would be, it would be helping the moms that, the moms with dependency issues. I don't know how you could do it, but if we could do away with that.
Yeah.
Moms with dependency issues.
Drug dependency.
Oh,
It's just
yeah,
the way
yeah.
that's a major struggle. And if you could somehow find people to have another way to cope.
Yeah, that's real.
Is that a bigger occurrence than most of society has an understanding of?
Yeah. It's really prevalent. And then, and then they try really hard to keep they want to keep. When I first started in my career, you separated mom and baby. If if mom had a positive urine drug screen or anything, baby went with CPS and went somewhere else. And now that might maybe still need to be the way, but we don't have space.
Yeah.
So you're still going with families and you're still, and I just wish there was a way to help out those families because there's a lot of struggles.
Yeah. That's a great answer.
That's a great answer. Both of them are great
That is
answers.
a great answer.
Well, thank you so much
Yes,
for
thank you.
joining us. This is
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
On
happy-
that lighthearted note.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Happy New Year. We're going to get more Caribou. We're going to have healthier moms, healthier babies. We're kicking off 2026 right.
We got a good plan.
Thank you for making some time out of your vacation time to come see us.
Of course. Our pleasure.
And normally I offer people, hey, if you ever want to come out here and hunt, but you probably already have access. But
We have some, but we're always,
we
we're
love
always
it.
looking.
We
Yeah.
like that.
That's same goes to you guys. If you ever get
We'll talk after we
Yeah.
pause or end this episode.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming out. Clearly, two people who view the world in a way that they see opportunity for improvement and don't just talk about it. They live it. They pursue it, and they make the changes that they can. And that's the whole point of this podcast. Whether it's conservation, whether it's healthier families, whether it's better education in our public schools, whatever those changes that need to be to make this world a better place. That's what we're all about here, and it all starts with your mindset, and that certainly is true for conservation. Conservation happens one mind at a time.